Test match rugby this Friday, folks. The Scots are playing a match up against Samoa at Eden Park. Why at Eden Park? Apparently Apia Park is going through some renovations, so it is a neutral venue for this one, albeit with the New Zealand connection for many of these guys and just geographic location. It's closer to home for the Samoan lads than for the Scottish ones. But we'll go through the squads which have been named. You guys can let us know your thoughts on how it is going to go. Like, initial look at the squads, the Samoan one is a real mix of like former Super Rugby guys, current Super Rugby guys, MLR guys playing them, rugby over in the States. In that competition, some of the veterans are now playing their trade over in Japan, and there's a few debutants, a few club rugby guys there as well. The Scots are obviously a bit deeper on their depth. They don't have as much in the way of debutants, but they are obviously without their British and Irish Lions, so they are a little bit weakened. But coming off that loss against Fiji last week, they will be looking to bounce back and at least pick up a few world rankings points because, where the teams are on the world rankings. Scotland's in 8th. They are just tracking down that 6th spot, which would be a top seeding in the next World Cup. And to be fair, for Samoa, you'd rather be from 7th to 12th because then you'd be a 2nd seed rather than a 3rd seed as well. So even though it's just like a test match on its own, in terms of the World Cup draw, there is plenty to play for. I don't think these guys have met since like 2019, so it's been a wee while. That was at the World Cup over in Japan, and it was a pretty emphatic win for the Scots in that one, 34-0. Ed Fido got himself a couple of yellow cards in that game, so there was a couple of penalty tries. I think it was 4 tries in the end, so pretty lopsided one. But Samoa has beaten Scotland before, but it was way back in 2013, back in the Alasana Tuilangi days where he bagged a couple of tries. So sadly for Samoa, a lot has changed back then. You feel like the team hasn't been tracking in a positive direction since that time. However, they'll give it a crack this weekend at Eden Park. Seuli, Asu, and Alalatoa is the front row. So Seuli is one of those guys, like I mentioned, Super Rugby background, now applying his trade in the MLR. Alalatoa is probably one of the bigger names in the Samoan lineup. Crusaders, Leinster on his CV, now playing his rugby over in France. He'll be looking to be solid at scrum time at tight head. He used to be the captain of Samoa, although not at the moment. And then Asu is the debutant in the number 2 jersey. He plays his rugby in the MLR as well, so we'll see how he goes on his debut. He needs to get the line-up throws right. Nini and Slade is a more veteran kind of looking second row at this point. With Nini's, as I said, one of the veterans playing his rugby now over in Japan, and Slade has been with Moana Pacifica, I think, since they were formed. Kind of in and out of the squad at times, but he's there in the number 5 jersey. And then the star of the show for Samoa, at least in recent years, has been Theo McFarland. He captains the side at number 6. Remember, he can play lock, he can play loose forward. He's got a massive skill set, offloads, tackles, carries, aerial game, can do genuinely a bit of everything. So I haven't seen much premiership this year with him playing for Saracens, so I am keen to see how he goes in this game captaining Samoa. Ma'u and Siu are the guys alongside him. So the forward pack wise is, as I said, a real mixture of guys at different stages of their career and just the one debutant, which is at least a little bit pleasing in terms of the depth. Matavao and Umanga is a new 19 combo with Jacob Umanga. Remember, he's a former England international. I think got capped for them once. He's eligible for Samoa now, so he's taking up that call. He's going to run the show at 10. Playing his rugby over in Benetton. He's been playing all right for Benetton, even if they didn't make the playoffs of the URC. And then Matavao has been a real stalwart for Samoan rugby. He's been playing for them for a number of years, so we'll see how those guys go together. Ta'afu and Paiaoa, that's another couple of the more kind of veteran guys, either late 20s, early 30s. Ta'afu certainly in his 30s. Paiaoa must be 30 by this point. Paiaoa has been over in France for a number of years since leaving Aussie rugby. So midfield-wise, it's pretty experienced, and there's a fair bit of playmaking there as well, with especially Paiaoa. Alosio is on the left wing, Tuitama is on the right wing, and then this guy, Ah Kyung, is there at fullback. I haven't seen him play before. I think he's playing his rugby over in Australia in the Shoot Shield. So a good chance for him to put his hand up. Sometimes guys get picked up for professional contracts based on these kind of games. So we'll see how these guys go. Bench-wise, there is one potential debut if Kanan Setini Tua comes off the bench as the replacement loosehead prop. So fingers crossed he goes all right. And then Nico Jones, son of Michael Jones, which is basically the thing that gets said about him every time he plays. He's, I think, down again playing rugby at club level now at this point, having played, a bit for Moana Pacifica, He's played for Auckland at the NPC. He's played over in the MLR. Back here in New Zealand playing some club rugby, so he'll make his international debut as well. So congratulations to him. And then just the two backs on the bench, Connor Tupai, another potential debutant, and then Rodney Yona there as well. For the Scots, as I mentioned, there's no Lions, but there are a couple of future squad members for this Lions squad in Rory Sutherland and Ewan Ashman, have both recently been called up as kind of cover for the current Lions squad. They are playing in this game before heading over to Australia. So Sutherland's at loose head, Ashman is at hooker. They also called up Darcy Graham, but he is, I'm assuming, having already travelled over to Australia at this point because he's not in the squad. And then Miller Mills is there at tight head. So it's a familiar look from the side which lost to Fiji a week ago. Grant Gilchrist is there alongside Gregor Brown. So Gregor Brown comes into the 23. Gilchrist was their top line-out man against Fiji. So if there is one guy that Theo McFarlane is going to look to thwart at line-out time, it is him. And then Andy Christie is back in at number 6. I think he got an injury against the Māori All Blacks, so he's back in. That's good news. Rory Dodge captains the side at number 7. And then Matt Fagerson, who made 22 tackles against Fiji, is there at number 8. Dobby and Burke get another game together at 9 and 10. Remember, Fergus Burke got his debut against Fiji. Didn't have to do a lot of kicking. It was more Jamie Dobby that was putting the boot to ball for the Scots. So we'll see if they try to keep the ball in hand with Burke especially, exploit his kind of running game, or whether they decide to try and exploit some of the backfield for the Samoan defenders. McDowell and Hutchinson is an all-new midfield compared to last week's game against Fiji, but we did see them against the Māori All Blacks, and they look pretty handy. You guys have got lots of depth in that area of the game, to be fair, at the moment. Scotland, Aaron Reed's in on the left, Kyle Stain shifts to the right, and then Kyle Rowe is their fullback. So if those guys get going, there are some real weapons in those Scottish outside backs. Bench-wise, Turner, Macbeth, and Richardson. Richardson will be getting his debut, although I do think he got a game against the Māori All Blacks as well, but it'll be his first official test cap. Cam Henderson's there as well, Marshall Sykes, and then it's also Ben Muncaster in the 21 jumper. So it's also a 6-2 split for the Scots, with George Horn and Adam Hastings continuing on from their roles against the Fijians. I mean, for that game against the Fijians, the penalty count was a bit high for the Scots, and they missed 37 tackles. They conceded 8 line breaks, but 4 of them were the Fijian winger Waininolo, who is absolutely lightning. So I won't give them too much stick. I don't think the Samoan squad, with all due respect, has a player in the outside backs quite of that level. But I mean, maybe this guy Ah Kyung will light the thing up. I did see one highlight of him on Facebook of him scoring a try from a kickoff in the shoot shield, and he looked to have a pretty wicked step on him. So yeah, we will see. There's no Tom Jordan in this one. He ended up fracturing his hand in that last game, so unfortunately for him, misses out with injury. Like I said, the recent history between the sides is all the Scots. They won their last one 34-0. The previous one 44-38, so that was a fair bit closer, but as I said, in general, I think Scottish rugby has largely been tracking upwards. And for the Samoans, it's been a drop in the world rankings in recent years. It is on at Eden Park, like I said, because Apia Park's having renovations. So one of these few chances to see the Scots play in this neck of the woods. It's a Friday game. It's on at 7:35 local time here in Auckland. Aussie Jordan Ray is the ref for this one. Fingers crossed there's a few fans that get out there to see these two teams go head to head. Predictions wise, it is predicted to be pretty lopsided. 17 points at the bookies, 18 points says the rugby forecast algorithm. The Samoan squad is a little bit older on average, because they do have, as I said, a few kind of veterans, a few kind of journeyman players in the squad, whereas the Scots are without some of their mainstay guys who are off with the Lions. You guys let us know your thoughts on how it's going to go. If you want to get a Lions jersey, by the way, check out the Lions store down in the description. I'm an affiliate of the British and Irish Lions shop. They're usually having some sales on and right ahead of the first test. And with a few Scottish call-ups, maybe it's time to celebrate and get yourself one of them jerseys. But anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts. How do you think it's going to go? Scots too good or the Samoans to surprise? Take care, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.